Today, we are going to talk about one of the most difficult books ever written. It is Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit. Hegel wrote it in 1807. He was broke, he had no job, and he finished the book while cannons were firing outside his window. Napoleon was conquering the city. Hegel, in his book, uses strange words. His sentences are very long, but the basic idea is simple. Hegel wants to answer one question: how does consciousness learn? Most people think we learn by looking at objects. We see a tree, we touch a table, we learn from our senses. But Hegel says this is wrong. He says that true learning happens when our certainty crashes into contradiction. Think of it like this: you are certain of something, then you try to explain it. Your explanation falls apart. You hit a contradiction. You're forced to change. That is the engine of the book. Hegel calls it determinate negation, a fancy term for a simple idea. When your current idea breaks, you're forced to a better one. The book is the story of this journey. It is the story of spirit learning what it really is. And at the end, we discover that spirit is not a thing, it is not even a person, it is the social whole, it is the community, it is the I that is we, and the we that is I. Let us begin the journey. What is the most certain thing you know? Most people would say, I know what is right in front of me. I see this coffee cup. I hear this sound. I feel this table. This is immediate. This is direct. This is certain. Hegel says this sense certainty, it is the simplest form of consciousness. It says, I am certain of this here, now. But Hegel immediately shows a problem. Try to say what you mean. Try to say this. Point to the cup. Say this. What happens? As soon as you say the word this, it becomes universal. This could mean anything. This could be the cup, the table, the room, the planet. Now try here. You point to a spot. You say here, but as soon as you say it, here could be any spot. It is not a specific location, it is a universal concept. Now try now. You say now, but by the time you finish the word, now is already the past. The now you meant is gone. Hegel does a simple test. Write down a truth about now. Write, now is night. Come back at noon, read the sentence. Is it true? No, now is day. The written truth has become false. The now you meant has vanished. What does this prove? It proves that sense certainty cannot say what it means. It wants to grasp the singular, unique thing, but language only gives us universals. Every time you try to point to this, you end up saying all this is. The truth of sense certainty is not the singular object, it is the universal. This is not a specific thing, it is a universal category. Consciousness has learned its first lesson. Sense certainty is not the truth is in perception. Now, consciousness moves to a higher level. It stops trying to grasp singular this is, it starts to grasp things with properties. Look at salt. It is white, it is cubic, it is tart, it dissolves in water. These are its properties. Consciousness says the thing is the one, the properties are the many. The one has the many. This seems stable, it seems true. But Hegel finds a contradiction. How can one thing have many properties? The salt is white, it is also tart, but white is not tart is not white. So the salt is not simply one, it is many. But if it is just many, then it is not a thing at all. It is just a pile of unrelated qualities. Consciousness tries to fix this. It uses a trick. It says the salt is white insofar as it reflects light, but it is tart insofar as it touches my tongue. The insofar is a way of keeping the properties separate. But this trick fails. Who is doing the insofar? Consciousness is. Consciousness is the one who separates the properties. Consciousness is the medium that holds them together. The thing is not stable on its own. The thing only holds together because consciousness holds it together. And then another problem appears. The thing has properties that exclude other properties. The salt is white, that means it is not black. It is cubic, that means it is not round. So the thing is defined by what it is not. Its identity depends on other things. This is a mess. The one thing is really many. Its properties exclude each other. Its identity depends on others. Perception collapses. What has consciousness learned? It has learned that the truth is not in the stable thing, the truth is in the movement behind the thing. Consciousness must look for forces, laws, and an invisible supersensible world. We move to the understanding. The understanding says, forget the surface, the truth is hidden. There are forces and laws behind what we see. Think of magnetism. You see a magnet pick up a nail. That is the appearance. But the truth is the invisible force of magnetism. The understanding wants to explain appearance by finding these hidden laws. This seems more scientific. It seems more advanced. But Hegel shows another contradiction. First, these hidden forces are just copies of the visible world. The supersensible world is just the sensible world turned upside down. In the visible world, like poles repel. In the invisible world, like poles attract. The beyond is just the inversion of the here. You have not really gone anywhere new. Second, the laws are empty. Take the law of universal attraction. It says everything attracts everything else. This is not a real explanation, it is a tautology. It just repeats the fact that things are related. It does not tell you how or why. Third, the explanation never ends. You explain force A by force B. Then you explain force B by force C. You chase an infinite chain of explanations. You never reach the real thing. The understanding tries to find a stable, hidden world behind the curtain of appearance. But when you pull back the curtain, there is nothing there. The inner truth is just the movement of consciousness itself. The understanding has reached a dead end. It has exhausted the world of objects. It can only spin in circles. The only way out is to turn inward. Consciousness must stop looking at objects. It must look at itself. We have moved from consciousness, looking at objects, to self-consciousness, looking at the self. Self-consciousness is not about things. It is about desire and recognition. A self-consciousness wants to consume the object, it wants to negate it and absorb it. Think of hunger. You eat the food, you destroy it, you make it part of yourself. That is desire. But desire has a problem. When you destroy the object is gone. Your satisfaction is temporary. You need a new object. True satisfaction cannot come from eating things. It must come from another self-consciousness. Why? Because only another self can recognize you. A tree cannot tell you that you are free. A rock cannot give you dignity. Only another person can. Self-consciousness exists in and for itself when it so exists for another. This is the famous master slave dialectic. It is one of the most important passages in all of philosophy. Here is how it works: two self consciousness meet. Each wants the other to recognize it. But recognition cannot be forced, it must be freely given. So a struggle begins, a life and death struggle. One is willing to die, the other is afraid. The one who is afraid becomes the slave, the one who is willing to die becomes the master. The master gets recognition, the slave bows down. The master says, I am free, you are not. This seems like a victory for the master. But Hegel shows it is a disaster. The master is recognized by a slave, but a slave has no authority. The recognition of a slave is worthless. The master needs recognition from an equal, but he has killed and enslaved all of his equals. The master is trapped, he is dependent on the slave, he is not truly free. Now look at the slave. The slave is in chains. He works for the master. He fears death. This seems terrible. But Hegel says the slave wins in the end. Why? Because of work. The slave transforms nature. He shapes the world, he builds, plans, and creates. In work, the slave sees his own power. He looks at a bowl he made, he says, I made that. The object is not alien, it is his own labor. His consciousness grows. The master, meanwhile, just consumes. He does no work. He learns nothing. He stagnates. The slave has felt fear, absolute fear of death. This fear breaks his fixed identity. It opens him up to change. He can become something new. The master who never feared is locked in a place. The truth of the master-slave relation is this: freedom is not domination. Freedom is won through work, fear, and service. The slave becomes the true hero of history. The slave's freedom is still one-sided. The Stoic says, I am free in my thoughts. The outside world does not matter. This is abstract freedom. It has no content. It is just an inner feeling. The skeptic destroys all truths. He says, nothing is certain. But this leads to complete chaos and contradiction. The unhappy consciousness is the deepest stage. It feels a split. There is an unchangeable essence, God the beyond, and there is changeable, unworthy self, that is me. These two can never meet. The unhappy consciousness earns, it prays, it works, it renounces pleasure, but it never reaches the essence. The essence always remains a distant beyond. This is the feeling of alienation. It is the feeling of being cut off from the truth. But here is the secret. The unhappy consciousness does not know that the unchangeable essence is actually reason. And reason is not in the beyond, reason is in the actual social world. The search for a hidden God is over. The curtain is torn. We have reached the point where consciousness realizes, I am all reality. This is reason. But reason must now prove itself. It must leave the lonely self and enter the social world. Let's review what we have learned. First, sense certainty fails. You cannot grasp a singular this. Language always gives you universals. Second, perception fails. Things are not stable ones with many properties. The insofar trick does not work. Third, the understanding fails. The hidden supersensible world is just an inversion of the visible world. Laws are empty, explanations are circular. Fourth, self-consciousness begins with desire, but true satisfaction comes only from recognition by another self. Fifth, the master-slave dialectic shows that the master is not free. The slave, through work and fear, becomes the true locus of freedom. Sixth, the unhappy consciousness feels a painful split between the self and the unchangeable essence. But this essence is actually reason, and reason is in the world. Where are we now? We have moved from looking at objects to looking at the self. But the self taken alone is also a dead end. The true self is not an individual, it is the social whole, it is the community, it is spirit. In the next lecture, we will leave the lonely self behind. We will enter the world of history, culture, and ethics. We will see the Greeks, the Romans, the French Revolution, and the birth of modern morality. We will see the beautiful soul and the power of forgiveness. And finally, we will arrive at absolute knowing, which is not a secret truth, but the full recollection of the entire journey. Thank you.